Welcome to another HSExtra.com high school football video, Coach's Clipboard edition. I am Joe Serrera, and I'm joined once again this season by Southeast Guilford Falcons head coach Earl Bates. Coach Bates, thank you so much for taking the time to join us in a playoff week.
Hi, thank you, Joe.
Your Falcons finished the regular season 7-3 with a 34-17 win at Page. Do you feel like you have some momentum heading into the playoffs?
You know, we felt like we played really well Friday night at Page, especially after, the loss to Northwest the week before. So it was important for us to come out and show that we were a better football team than that.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you've learned about your team through this 7-3 season?
Well, for the most part, we've said all season long, it's important that we get off to a good start, whether, it's something happens in special teams or turnover. We play a lot better when we can get things going and moving in the right direction early in the football game.
Mm-hmm. How much, if anything, can you change in the playoffs after 10 games? Is it a case where your team kind of is what it is, or are there things that you can try to do in that week head into the postseason?
Well, I think that depends on what has happened throughout the year. We've dealt with a lot of different circumstances as far as guys being out from injuries, guys being sick. So we're about as healthy as we've been all year long, going into this week. And we just hope that we can get to Friday and it stays that way.
Yeah, health was one of the things I was going to ask you about. Some coaches I've talked to today saying that there's some kind of a seasonal flu thing going around and they're crossing their fingers and hoping for the best. But, as you said, I know you guys battle through Cam Williams being hurt, Jordan Dollar being hurt, some really key guys, and still persevered through that and got to 7-3. So obviously you guys can handle that stuff, but obviously also better if you don't have to. So I'm glad you're relatively healthy right now. You're on the road Friday night, but this Falcons team is 4-0 away from home. What have you guys been able to take with you on the road that's allowed you to play so well away from home?
Well, we're not really sure. We play the games we lost at home. We lost against, some really good opponents, and the Grims of the game, and of course Northwest, and just the loss at home against Northern, and just some bad things happened in that game. But on the road, we've done a real good job this week. We understand they're undefeated at home, so on Friday night something has to give. We're undefeated on the road, they're undefeated at home, so we've got to go play our best effort on Friday.
Is this the kind of group at Southeast? Some teams like going on the road because it's kind of us against them and everybody pulls together and really locks in. Is this that kind of team?
I think so. Again, I think it's less distraction sometimes when you're on the road. And I think our team does a lot better when there's less distractions.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, obviously, having played Northwest Guilford 2 weeks ago at your place. It was a 37-10 loss for the Falcons. What did you see from the Vikings in that game?
Looking back on that game, they handled us up front. Their offensive line did a tremendous job against our defensive line and linebackers. And anytime you can rush almost 400 yards, you're doing something very good up front. So we've definitely got to do a better job against them in the box. We're going to have our hands full, but again, that's what playoff football is, and that's what matchups and coaching comes into play. We've got to do something different to give us a chance to win.
It seems like they're a little bit more balanced offensively than they've been, early in the season, and to an extent last year. There was Tanner Ballou throwing the ball over the place to Trent Cloud, Bristol Carter, some of the other guys they have. This season, as it's gone on, Mike Cadet, that little back behind that big line, seems to have kind of given them that balance. Is that what you're seeing?
They've got weapons, a lot of them. You mentioned all those guys. They're not one-dimensional in any means. So you've got to be well balanced as well when you're game planning against them. So it's just we still feel that the advantages was up front against us anyway in that last game, because even running the ball, the times that they did throw, we didn't do a very good job of putting pressure on the quarterback as well. Anytime he's able to just stand back there and stay on the spot, You know, he's got some very good weapons. We got to get him off the spot and put a little more pressure on the quarterback as well.
It seemed like also Northwest early in the season struggled a bit defensively, and they've gotten a little bit better on that in the last 2 or 3 weeks. What have you seen from them on that side of the ball?
They have, you know, they're solid in what they do, and they were able to generate a lot of pressure on us the last time, you know, with their front four. And we've got to do again. We've got to do a better job up front on the offensive line as well. So, you know, we feel like for us to be successful in this game there, we've got to be better on both the offensive line and defensive line. We felt like that was the biggest advantage they had against us the first time we played.
Well, this is going to be a great football game Friday night in Northwest Guilford. Southeast Guilford going over there, first round of the Class 4A West playoffs. You want to see a great high school football playoff game in Guilford County, that's a place to be Friday night. We wish you and your Falcons luck in that one and maybe going forward in the playoffs.
All right. Thank you, Joe.